what is the God-given purpose of marriage?
That we are not meant to be alone.
The role of the individual in the marriage.
Push the man away. You are pushing the man into temptation.
About the sex.
Anytime,
Money breaks a lot of marriages. It's perfectly right. And people quarrel and fight over money all the time. Mutual respect. Once it's missing, there's no romance. Makes it difficult to come together. Yeah. So look for the love of your life. Learn to love the one you've chosen.
Welcome back to another episode of the EAAN Aura Podcast. Merry Christmas to you all. This is the season of the time. Guys, you remember, if you watch our last but 2 episode, we promised you guys that we are going to give you another discussion on on marriage. So we have our amazing guest here today. Our own parents are here. We have our mother here. We have our father here. And today is going to be very, very, very wonderful. Please make sure that you stick with us. We know you miss us. We also miss you. So without wasting much time, I would allow our mother and our father to introduce themselves to us. Daddy and Mommy, our viewers will want to know you. Can you please introduce yourself to us?
Okay. Your friend Fosti. Na mi fie din so e de ma me do fie. Me Onumberg. Me free Ghana.
All right, good. But your friend is Edda Richard J.C. Fabule. It's a Nuremberg, originally from Africa, Ghana, and Mehoken is All right.
Wow. So, guys, as you know, we are all Ghanaians. So, I believe that today you are going to learn a lot about our marriage, like the Ghanaian marriage. Yeah. So, please stick with us. Today, we are going to mix both English and Chi.
Yes.
Yeah. So, we try our possible best to do more of the English. Yeah. So, Daddy and Mommy, the first question that we would like, myself and my viewers would like to know is that, say, Yakasa Awaria, Ediani Awaria, Ehefana Awaria Fribai, what is marriage, like the origin of marriage?
Actually, marriage has been there. I mean, if you go to history, started, some people are saying some years before Christ and all those things, marriage has been there. Even if wherever you look at marriage, it has been there for a long time. But for us Christians, biblically speaking, we will just look at Genesis chapter 2:24, where it says that a man shall leave his mom and dad and go to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. Okay. And that is basically something that tells us that marriage is a necessity for humanity. Nobody is born to be alone. Nobody is born to live alone. You need a fitting partner. Just the fact that the two shall become one, which means it must fit, it must cling, it must work, it must be enjoyable, it must not be separable. You don't have to see the other part as a foreign body, or just the Germans would say a Fremdkörper. If you become one, that's the issue with marriage, is that the two shall become one. So being one is the main goal. Enjoyable, one, inseparable, and most of to put it straight, untouchable from the outside world. That's what I would put it.
Okay. Mommy.
Yakasa Awaria, say, Edda Dikayaka. Our radio started for Bible. We share about the Assasia. Yankopo bo, we asino. Oboba, or the cabo bema, and who say, a behia so benya, a hokanian, or benya will be a canon. Into Koyi or bema, dear the bem, ye, oba, Emma, oba. Near the nema bema, or noa, and near the nema or bema. Inti, we share it in true no or mumino. It's no way our for Sane becano, and our sana me mecano. Inti make us our ready. If Rashasi, a body a chassis, and then yammy ye our re. Cause once or ball bema a ball banny day, not just our re who he say, ye became who are born near our. This name say our re.
Okay. So for what you are saying that marriage actually, the origin of marriage came from the Bible. Okay, so we all know that, we all know and we all believe.
Right from creation.
Yeah, right from creation. Yeah. Okay, so we all know and we all believe that God created the world. So then if we are asking where is the origin of marriage, then definitely it's going to come from the Bible. Okay. Daddy, when you were speaking, you made mention of that man is not supposed to live alone. And then man needs somebody as a companion. I want to know if there is actually an age range for marriage. Like to say, I'm a person worry. Do we have an age range? Like, do you have to be 35? Do you have to be 30? Do you have to be 19? Do you have to be 18? Do you have to be this? Yeah.
Well, I mean, it all boils down to maturity. Mm-hmm. All right. I wouldn't say that, okay, in the Western world, when they come here, we have minimum age where you don't have to, below that age, you are not allowed to do certain things. Mm-hmm. Let me put it that way. Let's say below 18, the ages here, the laws here in Europe will not allow you to get married. Mm-hmm. Right? Once you go to other cultures, they get married even at the age of 13. You think about that, and even I remember somebody was telling me when we were having Bible study at church that you were married and you're underage. I mean, and it all boils down to maturity. Yeah. It all boils down to maturity. Yes, yeah. In certain cultures, yes, of course, below 18 in Europe and somewhere below 18. You need a signature of your parents to get into it. That means you have to be married. You have to be matured. And I would say it all boils down to maturity. Okay. Yeah. Specific age depends on cultures. Specific age depends on cultures. I will put it that way. Okay. But the person doesn't have to be so young not to be able to fend for the other. Right? You should be able to care for your family. You don't marry for somebody to come and take care of you. So maturity also goes with your ability to take care of the family. Yes. But if you can do that, then you are matured. Yeah.
I think when you mentioned maturity, that was a follow-up question that I was about to ask that, okay, then if you are talking about maturity, then it means that if someone is like 9 years, 13 years, as you said, that in some segments of the world, like we have like places where like people can actually marry at the age of 13 and all that. So I was about to ask if that is the case, then if the person is 15 years or if the person is 60 years and he or she is matured, then it means that the person can marry. But then that comes to the point where you said that then the person has to be able, have the capacity to be able to, fend or cater for the family.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, one can be much of a younger age. The other party can be much of a older age. So it balances so that the caretaking takes place. Yeah. Okay. If both of them are 15, then we have problem.
Okay. So, mommy, yeah, funny say, obi was 18 years or obi was 20 years, obi was 25 years, 23 years. Na sa oni pakono. Oye owejuma oye. Na waye mature. And I said, my member from Kakra, 17 years, 18 years. Nani panu wejuma. When him say, okay, mejuma me ye, se me kofo obi beka mo ho a, metimi ahwe no. Na se oye matured enough. Sa nipa kono betimi aware.
Yeah. Efa baby Annie, efa baby Debbie. If you say, sa 17 no, I'm saying na normally no. Enne mum near massa, but still I who say, ne idea a general ne bi e wo form kakra. Say a basse mushia ya na baby akwara bamu a. Akwara ne ntiti ye mu no, ene enniema bi uhu na wutimu say we die. Oya akwara pa na wawo. Because of the way I will see a carry ne ho e hwe akwara no nti no. Who say enema wo form kakra nti all the time no be who say aya na mothers no nipa kro no family no omumienu no de ne mother e ben no time bia be who say na maame no owo mo nchen a oboa wo mo say fa we to ha fa we si ha mamunye sei nti no say e basa mo betimi aware but it depending time bia wo say baako emfie no wo soro kakra esen baako said Beman was 17, so Bana was 17, was so mumu baako, at the end where nimu, kakra, as saint dear, lady and war form no, 10 beer, winnie pacrono, what to me action I drink, a banya maybe so.
Okay, so, one, it's not necessarily about the person being both of them or one of them should at least be higher in age than the other. So not necessarily the woman or the man. Because I know from where we are coming from, I know mostly people are saying that it's always the guys who are always older than the ladies.
Yeah, it is because of mechanism saying, yen Africans in the idea my cancer and they say, Tembiana me mechanism say and me jitum saso, a mad yenintum. And nam say, and nam cross community. Unya wo ba kuminu, me and sape. We say, Obi who are force when you ama. Nti ages no yen ye no etembia e mayenyi ntam nti se wukunu no eso ebeye akram ejawa ono nama na wo wabro ne so dodo nti be ma so de bedru age bi ne be bedru fie bi no na ofo se ade na me ko ware eyisa makwa ware ma me too much enso bi kra na mo njawa no bi a 1 year bi kra 1 year kra nrupo enso na am se awo ne ade ba mu nti no wo wabeye panyintam eja ukunu no enu nti na wobenya ana ebeye papa dia enkatem bia be ma no emfie ne nwa animu ensen wo ba no na tem bia mo na ma beye pe.
Okay. Okay.
On the other hand, so meet me, like I say, I mean, in my family, if you buy, my mom know anything, my papa.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. My mom me papa getting almost to 10 years.
Wow.
But in that area, it's not, you know, there were a couple like Ponquesiada, almost sorry. Almost say a point sorry, almost mefie. The point sorry cry and I say, you do much, you're very see video much because you're numb for three and say, Mama, I know Papa is and Kalamu with a bit of once I say new lovers. I say, yeah. It boils down to the maturity, and one is older than the other. And of course, my Papa says, so Jenny, the baby is stubborn. It's in my penny, you know, always draws my father's attention, say, hey, Kwame, I have say one year, I have say any year. You know, it boils down to maturity. If you understand yourself, it doesn't matter the age difference. It doesn't matter the age difference. One crap on you witness it, baby penaka say I'm older than you, but crap I catch you. So Papa says age is just a number. Let it be.
Oh, okay. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Going through life, when I was growing up, there was this particular question that I've always wanted to ask, and I always ask elder people anytime I have the opportunity. What is the God-given purpose of marriage? Because it looks like everybody has its own personal reasons for getting married. But I want to understand, myself and my viewers want to understand, what is the God-given purpose for marriage?
God-given purpose for marriage. Well, as you can really trace it back to the Garden of Eden, he says the man couldn't be alone. It's just as simple as that. He created everything in pairs. Everything in pairs. Even the Almighty knew, so he has to put things in pairs. So everything was in pairs. Adam looked around and asked himself, why am I alone? Right? And the Lord made him to sleep, created a helper for him. So original plan of the Most High God, we are not supposed to be alone. Think about God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. None of them work independent of the other. They work with one another. They are not even alone exactly. Let alone human beings. I mean, thinking about that, we are not meant to be alone. Yeah, it's rather unfortunate that many people are alone. Many come and split. I would say it's rather unfortunate. But we as human beings are not meant to be alone.
Okay.
No.
So the purpose of God for creating marriage was companionship.
Exactly.
To bring man and woman together to have, that's union and all that. Okay.
And of course, to reproduce.
Exactly. It's getting very interesting here, guys. And I hope you are still here watching us. The role of the individual in the marriage. As a man, as a woman. What is my role as a man? I will start from mommy. I will start from mom. Yeah.
Awari mu obia woni road oba de rope kesi awari mu no. Say me start number 1. Ahobrasie. Number 2. Wona wo yesi bema ye efieti no kre but oba no wo na ase efie ho nyina ekura wo sa na meka no if you say Bibia wona enkwala mfanse nkwala bebe mu a e wo se wona wo hwe saade ni nyina wo beye aduane wo besiesie fie wo kunu beko beba na wo se efi obibia ye intact die ohia bia obisa ho a e wo se wutimi kire ne se even ne mpabo akora no wo ne wo se wo hwe baabi na wo digu na wo ba na obisa me mpabo a wo he wo se mpabo ani gu ha me tai gu he wo se wo ha me shirt we mi ye hefa na me de to ye wo se wo ha enti oba wo de owuro ne se fie ho no wo be hwe se ntoto ye bibia ebe intact wo fie wo be toto niema nyina fine na wa hwe wo mofra no so nyina so fine ti oba de owuro a ware no mu no eso pa e wo se wo hwe sa niema nyina wo siesie fie wo ye waduane wontumi nka se me ye oba me de me nu aduane ana me ni me kunu emfa ho ne se de wo kunu onim aduane ye te se din eye wo oba no wasede se wo se wo ye aduane sa na ti nti se wo kunu e wo ho ahoden se obeboa wa e fine hallelujah
okay
na wa boa wo but wontimi nka se e wo se ono me ma ye ene ma ye nkwan nti wo chena me kunu nye fro ye ye nye ne sa e wo se wo ye yen ayi Africa fo because yen nya abrofo ni abefa abrofo life ye Africans nti Africa fo de se de tete ye no ye kire yen se oba wo na wo ye fie adwuma fie adwuma nyina ye wo dia wo be kwa abonten akoton wo nioma but wo be san abafie abaye aduane se ye wukunu beba no na bibia ye fan e wo fie ti oba wo no
okay so as Africans specifically as Ghanaians like we are as a woman in a marriage, it is your responsibility to make sure that the home is in order. So you take care of the kids, you take care of your husband, you take care of the things, the cleaning, the cooking, and all those things. So basically, or generally, that is basically the role of the woman in the marriage. Okay, so Daddy,
yeah,
as a man, yeah, your role.
Well, my major role of men mostly is to fend for the family, care for the family. You work, you bring the whatever you earn home to take care of the family. Most important of all, you take care of your wife as well, because it's a reciprocity. You care for her, she cares for you. If you make your wife happy at home, but I would say basically what really breaks most of their marriages, or what men to miss the mark in that case, is they think they are working for their pockets, and sometimes they will give the woman a tip off. That is not an issue. You don't give your wife a tip off, right? She is not just helping you take care of the house because you are the superhero or the man. No. So whatever you earn, the first and foremost to keep the marriage going, make your wife happy. Make your wife happy. Spend time to make her happy. If you make her happy, she makes you happy. The next also to make sure, sir, that you take care of their bills as well. If you cannot do it and she's also working, you come together. You know, most of the time also to make the system work, most men also don't declare their income to their wives. To make the wives come in with a huge expectation only to find out that the man doesn't earn that much. Make demands that the man cannot meet, and they have distress at home. So I would say, number one, make your wife happy. Number two, fend for the home. Take care of the bills as much as you can. And when you have a wise woman and sees that my husband is doing so much, they will come in and support you whichever way they think you need help, because they think that you are doing a lot and you are doing good. So our role is to fend for the family. Make sure the kids are also trained well and they get the necessary and good education that they would like to pursue. That's mostly things for the man.
Okay. So as a man, you make sure you fend for your family. Make sure you love your wife.
Exactly.
Make sure you bring the money.
Make her happy.
Yeah. Bring the money home so that your wife and the children can actually spend the money.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think you guys are following and you are really learning something here. Okay, now let's move on to the African marriage and then the European marriage. I believe that back home, there is a way that marriage looks like. And now here, in this part of the world that we are, there's also a way that marriage also looks like. So, the African marriage and the European marriage, what do you make of it?
The African marriage and the European marriage. Of course, marriage is marriage basically everywhere.
Because the reason is that a lot of the young boys and the young girls now are watching a lot of European movies. And then they are actually infusing whatever they are learning there into our marriage, because everybody has his own culture. And if you have your culture, this is the way you were brought up. I don't see the reason why you should now infuse someone's culture into your marriage. For instance, the wedding and our own engagement. I was listening to the former GBA board president of the Ghana Bar Association, and he was saying that for him, if he's going to be honest, marriage as an ordinance and marriage as a traditional marriage, if he wants to be honest and tell us the truth, then he would say that marriage as a traditional marriage is very, very much important than marriage as an ordinance, because most of the times when someone marries when someone does the ordinance marriage, he or she is so simple for the person to just end the marriage. But then when the person does the traditional marriage, it's very, very difficult, because with a traditional marriage you have to go through a series of procedures before you can actually end it. So the European marriage and the African marriage, like, what do you make of it?
Yep. Well, I agree 120% with the gentleman whose name you called. And I think my lovely wife would say the same thing. This is what we have always been talking about mostly, that we don't see the ordinance marriage. It's just good to have it, right? On paper you are. But the traditional marriage is the most important. In our setup of Africa, we don't marry two people. We marry families. It's families that come together to marry. And I'll tell you one thing. Before I come back from work, when she was with the kids at home, right, she'll be talking to my mother. And I asked her, who are you talking to? She said, I'm talking to mommy. I said, yeah, which of the mummies is your mummy? And it was so often I asked myself, why is she doing all these things, right? So I also find out talking to sometimes her dad, or her mom, which I don't do quite often because of time. But I still remember what her dad told me. He said, she's not your wife. Not only your wife, she's your younger sister. Take care of her as your younger sister. And the way I treat my sisters, I'm supposed to treat her just like that. Of course, there are some exemptions when it comes to certain points. So I always think about that and I say, wow, she came into the marriage with the idea we are a family. So I'm at ease with my in-laws. She's at ease with my sisters and everything. And my sisters really love her. Sometimes when I say she's angry, I'm angry at her. They go like, it's your fault. Without even listening to it, because we get married. One other side of the European marriage is also like, we marry when we have this feeling, oh, it's love, it's this person or nobody else. And that is a dangerous and a risky endeavor. You don't marry somebody depending on your feeling just now because you can't sleep or you had 3 dreams about them last night. It's absolutely, no, it's a no-go area. Basically, the African type is we learn to love the one we're married to. Physical attractions is good to start with. But that is just the starter, is the appetizer. It's not a guarantee for success. So that's why when the feelings are gone in Europe, the marriage is gone. You can do whatever you want. It will never come back. It's just the eyes that saw it, physical attraction, the feeling that came. And we all know that feelings are not permanent. They come and go. So when that feeling that made you to start is gone, it's gone. In the African setup, wow, before you even think about getting a divorce, think about your mother-in-law. Think about your brother-in-law, who is your buddy now. I mean, think about, your sisters, who are also sisters on the other side. I mean, it's the whole thing. So what you do basically is, let me learn to love and learn to solve the problem, learn to go over the situation we find ourselves now. Because there are many more situations to come. One is not enough to break us. We are a family and we are one. That's the difference.
Okay.
Say, yen Africans, no, meka ebi anye Ghana for nkwa programming. Yen Africans, no, so we have free Nigeria, ebesi Togo, Ghana. Meka said those days, titano. Na any ordinance marriage be out, ye court aware be out. Na answer na obe ware no. A traditional marriage. And na a bar besi ene. Say ye warning ye say traditional ye tenasia. She family neighbor. Oh, Beman family no. Ne papa side the next one. Just a lot of family. Na ye also a banso. Na fe mu be shia and even say, oh, cry or bana ye ware no cry, oh, papa ntiasia, ye a Ghana for no, oh, papa ntiasia, a ye was sewa, oh, papa nuaba. Or no, say, oh, papa no, a member ni ho be one, nay, a man kwa, or no cry your ban, or no money be now as a papa, as a father. Now what dear ware in a mouth. Say, oh, papa, ye ya ware na, oh, papa, ye intimi ya ware emma or bear or bano. Oh, mammy side. Oh, papa side, and maybe a bear man and crow for background no money. Good family, no. Or make us say, ye who ban papa bushing for her. Our rainy yen. And see, a yes say, our no dear lawyer no kind. Ghana dear, ya warrior need training in any such traditional marriage. And to bet me, I could go our no court to crana. A bit me as a traditional marriage, na. Now our rainy, ye won't me worry. Oba ntimi nware be ma so ntimi nware ye be ka cho say wo oba no wo kunu nti se wo kunu meja wo e wo fie amfa ensa na ode be ware wo ne mai a woni ho kwan wo fo obi ese wabo adwaman enso na make us be me wo se waja ware wa kokota kotwetwam but on fa nsa ne maabusuafo ho ne maabusuafo ne nguhu say wagu aware ni nti sister lord aso ware nti tena ho kopem mra or they won't sabe basi waja ware and now ware na betina se agu no nti yen Africans de traditional marriage ne ehia pa say e was we ansana wakoye court de no na usa brochi ha no abrofo no omo no a traditional marriage no ne de omo akokot akoye no so se wo hwemu a omo ba ware omo di kan kokot ekoye wie ansa no makwa asori dem omo ya Christopher no onko court nkoye wie ya onko asori dem nkohira ware no so
okay
so we follow Germans no correct pa omo so wo mo de pa but yen ya ho ni ti animu he ya no na yehu na yehwe but omo so wo mo de ebinu ho kra family no two parts ni nyina omo kohia baabi ni ya ye party ni omo abobo glasses ni plates.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. German for no was our tradition.
Exactly.
Okay.
Porter
yes, your friends are. No more, and no so much. I didn't say I can't bear 1 week. No more court. Ako worry. And son a wedding day nankasa. Abba. And this anya man say ni my yen so soon come home. Almost a warm day, and no more woman say. Nti yensu African for no yeso yense hye no e was so said e tie bia was say we ye traditional marriage no and son na wakwa sorry them na wo be ware kra say so for ni di kan bisa say won ye fie aware won na gina aware na chi e wo fie and son waje and son na aware kra ye hina so wa sorry them ho nti say ye nya obi ogina aware na chi a ye bisa say won na di oba na ma aware ye hia say nipa no and son sorry them no ya ye wedding no ehira so enti say hu hia enka sofo kro no ni kan mebisa wo say fiaware no ha na gina ho eye fiaware no enti ehia pa ti ma yenke kan nioma mom ye ya said the Bible tie no emra bia yemfan bibia to said the tie pepepe na we kwa aware no mu a enhira ne nkonimdie efre kiraba.
Wow. It's getting very, very, very interesting, and I'm really, really enjoying it. If there's one thing that you should take away, we don't marry because of feeling. We love the person we marry. So, guys, take note. That is a very good statement from our parents. So now we know and we understand the African marriage and then the European marriage, but there's this notion that is out there, and I can say it is something which is there, that people who are already married in Africa, when they move to Europe or any part of the world, the moment they come, their marriage starts shaking, and sometimes they end up divorcing. We want to know, what are the challenges that they face, or what actually causes those things, and what are some of the solutions that we can use to curb that?
All right. It happens basically because misplace of roles. The role of a woman in the family doesn't change. The role of the man in the family doesn't change. Most of the time we have a simple argument that goes like, yeah, well, the man works 8 hours. The woman also works 8 hours. So if the man cooks, it's possible. If the woman cooks, it's also possible. Well, here is the case. For example, you will find me in the kitchen once every 500 years, right? What my wife does is she sticks to her roles. She cooks, she prepares Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, up to the weekend where we are free off. So we know what we are going to eat. What does the man do? He takes care of the car. He fills the gas. He goes for service. He makes sure the heating is working all right. He makes sure bills are paid in the house. He provides the things that the woman needs to cook at home. That costs you extra time after work to go shopping. I call her all the time on my way home. What do you need from the shop? So I can provide, makes it easier for you to get home quick and cook. That is my role, to provide, to bring it home. Yeah. But if we insist that because I'm working 8 hours, you are working 8 hours, especially the women, if I cook is possible, you cook is possible, it's misplace of roles. We don't understand our roles. We mix them up. I can never put on a breast holder. I am a man. It will never happen. And she can never wear my winter boots. People will laugh. So when we stick to our roles and we complement each other, it works and peace remains. Of course, there's also the other part where when people bring their wives here, most of the time, we don't open up early to them.
That's the
right?
point.
We don't open up early to them. We bring them in and we squeeze them and we cheat them. Without the man, nothing works in the house. You don't even allow your wife to hold a bank card. One day, she's going to hold a bank card and say, how wicked are you? How dare you tell me you love me and things like that, right? So we have to open up. That's what I say. Financial faithfulness in marriage is also one point. I remember when we met first time, I told her, this is my salary. This is how much I pay for the car. This is how much I pay for the house. So if you are making demands on me, think about this is the rest money that we all have to spend.
Exactly.
So make sure your demands fit in there, right? Some men will never tell you. If her money gets to my account, for example, she works in London, my place, I tell her, this is what came in this month for you. Whatever you need to use it for is up to you. You open up because one day, they will find out. And the moment they find out, hell break loose. That is the end of the marriage. And what breaks marriage mostly in Europe after starting nicely in Africa is not the mere fact that you work 8 hours, I do 8 hours or whatever. Is this unfaithfulness when it comes to finance. This is what breaks the marriage mostly in Europe. The other one who got here first always thinks that they are the wisest, they are the smartest, and whoever is coming to join them must go through some kinds of pain or learning process before they get wise. And sometimes they enjoy it so much that they don't open up to them so early. And one day when they find out they become wise, they go like, oh, well, that's how it is. And then marriage start breaking. And of course, sometimes when we get here too, we always think about our family so much. It's just me, my family. I want to support my family, just me. We forget the fact that we are one.
Yeah.
We forget that one. And this oneness get lost.
Yeah.
Then the whole thing is bound to break. So that's one of basically what really breaks us. Misplace of roles and things like that. Yes, I think she might add something.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, okay. Adia, me feel say, Bruchawari, I see a good tentam no ye. Eda can be what's me the cacrabe can say your bow, say a bema, do be the can bahano. Me can say, or bad dear, me sat me or bent me, me come, mamma, or baby a quawaria, or the akumapa, any adrem pane or do. And what they call no. Enti on ministry. Enti you didn't mind saying, come me walk Ghana pana. My bumpire sana. I feel they acquire BSM crew be family babucha. Me dear need or dopan. I'm a David. She and me Kuntiana was a me bahana or any bigu. And yet possible. But be dra a man binum. And a man subinum. Opa treatment or do be from nothing no cry, nana. Ne no na wote Ghana na no sister sika bro we do here bia kan no dia ba we do na life na sakra o yo te say ase na kola bia no te kra wo fie wonti me ntwa ho nya ho hwe bibia je so bisa no ope makokura je so no na akwa African shop akota abro enchine no na ekwa shop emema katachi o na edidwa aden me ene Saturday me see from makodi mi dwa nyina ya ye list the whole week, my listening in a dako, my dimi janina. And see, so during the week, na bibinkis and kitty bin and me feel say, here or fear yenia, bits of bread and as a phone. They're fine with me for all. One of my Mr. Top bread with me. But then, yes, say, oh, Pemako and Chine. Body, but Bibia, this a bear man, woman, or be a work of an African shop or quite crowd, or nim shop or quite, no, my German shop or crowd, or nim quite. Bibia, bear man, and there was so ye Bibia, no, the West if you say, save toy, no. And see, a bassa, in fact, we any pa, would be our woman, or no so number one, be a make a sort of Ghana, or you'll be a sorry pa. Overdrew her, Nina was show. Oh, my quite cram, I won't do on your Christo, you oh, my quite cram, say, quite sorry, Cobebia. Want to mean Pia, want to mean Cobebia. Oh, Bano, so no, make us say, will you be an away, ye pame, what bois, who knew me with the abasan car, with the beja jaw. When you know, the washer them now, oh, Pedro, so more, yeah, and you want to so many soon. Say, Quahin, say, Bahino. When you baby a num cra, Sican cra, also by Winnim said it's your fee. Oh, Mammy Union will be our body to say, your sister quabroche, me bear quabroche. After was so maybe so 10 euro crowd when young fans and your movie. Your flower chain. After night be basta. It's over who say. Na iya won ni adwene no a starting na odo na odo no e sorting na o e ba form ohu bibia e be bisa obia obisa be ma na bibi different but so me so abakoye adwuma ne ba ade a treaty e be treaty bad pa wo na ne refi kra sa na yere mpo ne wo enti nkakra akra na nipa no 2-3 years no na nyama be ye na ohu form no ohu krom a obekwa ja on tina home ma treating the so bad sa or no te Ghana no nim say won te sa ti afa da no do bedru ha wo di ni bedru ha wo treating the so bad sa en no na masa aware no treatment na wo mu no e ma no so binum kofa mema ne ba sa na bi mu so yo mo e bi mu so treat ye kunu no bad pa obo ho a sika no ono so be ma katachi okoye adwuma ba or Babasia, or Jessica, because of so no necofa and by inti. San your money, mano, and the ma warrior, a good cry, and siasie. A warrior in your bedrew her, Nancy, and there was a tea of one say, now you can't who bone say a yenny pabacon, Nancy, any edge may be. And see, I didn't no, and tiasie. And tiasie, and no donna was here, that's nasty money edge my bacono. And never drew her near refuge, Nessicanum, any edge in a home. Near refuge or door. Ere finti asie na yinya misro no so afri nchen na ye adwini sika ho eno so no eno an ma ware ni
this is so beautiful. So daddy, as you were making your submission, you made mention of money, and then we all know that money is one major body of marriage. So I want to know, what do you make of money and sex? Because it's one of these two things are mostly two things that actually destroy marriages. What do you make of it?
All right. Just as I said, it's true. You're right. Money breaks a lot of marriages. It's perfectly right. And people quarrel and fight over money all the time. I pay for the rent, you pay for the food and things like that. These are things that have been happening. But if you understand yourselves very, very well, the pay slips are there. You can tell each other, this is how much I earn, this is how much you earn. This is how much our total expenditure for the month. We have this much rent, we have this much car, we have this much mortgage. Whatever we have, it should be plain. It should be open, right? And then after that, you see the rest that is left, you plan together from there off. But here we have the cases where the woman wants to save as much as possible, the man wants to save as much as possible, and they don't even know how much each other earns, right? So they make unnecessary demands on one another. And once the demands become so high, then you have friction at home, and it eventually turns to a huge quarrel, and then they go away. The oneness also disappears. People want to build houses of their own. You can turn into one project, do it together, then turn into project B and do it together. But whereby things that and misunderstanding sets in more, then you have these issues. I'll tell you one story. For example, the white people also plan. They plan very, very well. This is what most black people or most Africans don't know. Before a white man and a white woman goes out to shop, they know their financial limits.
Okay.
For example, there was a case where the man told the wife, we are going to buy a new kitchen and our budget is 5,000, right? So they went to the shop, they were looking around, and the white lady saw that kitchen for 4,500 and went then said, honey, I found a kitchen so nice. It's worth 4,900 euros. Oh, darling, can we buy it? And the man said, yes, of course, let's buy it. It's so nice. They hugged each other, kissed each other. The woman was jumping and happy. There were another black couple there. The woman looked at the husband and said, idiot. 3,000 kitchen po. Went to man tamami. Oh, when you're Bruni na and you're not in the age. They haven't spoken about it at home. They just went to the shop to buy. And because it cost 3,000 and you haven't spoken to the man, you don't know your budget. You don't know how much is left. You're abusing your man in the shop that he can't afford the kitchen of 3,000. Did you talk to him about it at home? They didn't.
Okay.
And most of the times, what most of the men do is, even the bank card of the woman, they want to keep it. What for? Don't you trust your partner enough also to withdraw money for themselves? You know, we're sitting here, you see us, we don't quarrel about money. I don't remember the last time we fought about money. If I have, I pay. If she has enough, she pays. Sometimes I will say, oh, I don't have money. Oh, I need money. And she realized it's serious. She walked up to me and said, what you gave me, I have some left. I didn't spend all. How much do you need? And she surprises me every now and then. She brings me my money back sometimes. Now that she's working, she has her own. But even then, when she was not working, she brings me back my money. She manages it so well and gives it back to me. Because she knows the financial faithfulness that is it. I have showed it to her. I did not hide. We open up. But most of us, we don't open up. Everybody has a secret agenda somewhere. And remember, what is secret will one day come up to light. Yeah. How long can you hide it? Yeah. Right. And when it comes out, then we have all this whole mess going around. Yeah. So that's how I would say about finances. I'll talk to you later about the sex issue.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, and your finance, you. I'm saying the kind of work we so nyama enye open enye wofi obema pese oba be hu de oje oba so pese obema be hu de oje enti ekobasa na mafi ho na ye dendenden ene wo ti a dan ka no nyina dan ka eye bema de a mostly abrochi hade sa na bebre fa efi no ma hye no e dan ka no bema ne betia emfa ho ne se de cost bema ne tia na oba no so waye eduane ne sahane manema no enti e ho no na ya na de problem ba no so obi wo ho a dan ka no wo soro o hwe wo electricity ene eduane a eduane no so no obi wo ho a o to eduane wo fi a ono na eto nti no obi ntene ne ho nhye dan to eduane ne papa sa afi na be ma no be fie na fie ho dry bi ani ho no koka na ada ne ntokwa ha ena miniska na misika hasan adan una wuta aduane gu fie nti wo tene wo ho ade a e wo se wo ye ne de tene wo ho na ye obeba na aduane wo ho bibia wo ho but then am say we no hu uma hu ni sikasem we so ma hu sikasem no omotia obi wo ho a oba na sidan be ma na nim be ma nso sidan oba nim nti da ebe pie no eno so de aware ni gu egware jaye gu pa ha yeah nti be ma na sa na woti e mi fa misika ntia dan kama wo ntenam na wo kosi dan na minim sa na oba no so hu sa na woti e na me nhwe wo na fa usika ekosi dan nti ade ne de e wo se eye pepepe se wo be ma no kra wo mpese wo yi be hu sika se mu too much kra na ana oba no so mpese be ma be hu sika se mu too much kra na ma enye pese ye se to aduane a yiwuyam na yiwakoma mu na to waduane na oba no so utua wodan ka wo so yiwuyam na so tua wodan ka but de be ye ne se nka mu nyina mo bete mo ho ase na obi e hu se wo mani hu kra na bosumi we say na expenses say na meye wo fie wo so expenses na wo so be ye wo fie at least mutimi ka say sika no kra bom baako na mo de baako say yete dan ka ni wie ha na oba no fo say sometimes ha na ye ma no ye sika sam no son eta wo from because obi wo ho a na adwuma na nheda enyi srosa nti sika no wo fom nti no odi mi be ye we ya ye di bia kofie no na ade na ye ketwa nti ya basa mo manti ase anya adwuma na ka kire ne se e bia mi sika sem ye nti ya du ha ya afa kakra bi be support na mi ntumi fa hwe efie yi nti me fo se no na ya na ama nneɛma ha adwene na ntɔkwasɛm ne nkwalaa no so ɛho nsɛm no yɛ sɛ nkwalaa sika no na adane ntɔkwa ɛwɔ abusua no mu nkwalaa ne sika no so no ɛnhyɛ da nyɛ sika biara saa sɛ woka sɛ ɛwɔ sɛ the family obiara si hwɛ ne fie saa na memeka no sɛdeɛ woka sɛ woawo aburokyire nti wohwɛ wo ba ne aborɔfo standard ayɛ pa a sika ne ɛnsɔ hwee saa sika no ɔmɔde ma na ɛyɛ nkwaraa ne din no meme fie deɛ mepɛ sɛ mema ne aborɔfo hyia a mempɛ sɛ ɔmbɛtɔm mempɛ sɛ wobɛhu difference biara ma ɔmo hu sɛ ɔmo yɛ africafoɔ tuntum nti mepɛ sɛ time bi ɔmo standard no ɔmo yɛ pɛ mema saa na mema yɛ ɔmo nti me sika no ɛnyɛ no na mede yɛ agyapadeɛ mayɛ madwe sɛ mede hwɛ nkwaraa na ɔmo standard no ɛne aborɔfo nti ɔmo duru aborɔfo mu a baabi ɔmo ne ɔmo bɛhyia bi a ɔmo nsuro ɔmo ni ehu biara wɔ ɔmo mu ɔmo ne ɔmo feesi baabiara mema ne ɔmo yɛ pɛ yɛka top classrooms a mema ka ho nti me ne ɔmo nti sɛ sika no nyɛ ebusua bi wɔ hɔ a sɛ sika no nti ɛyɛ big issue ma awareɛ kora timi gu bɛrima se fama me ɔbaa so se fama me weegye ne na awɔtwe bɔsɔme na wei akɔgye ne bɔsɔme na ayɛ big issue wɔ fie hɔ mefa sɛ wei so ɛyɛ nteaseɛ ɔwɔ sɛ wote aseɛ sɛ wopɛ sɛ yɛnyɛ kurom obiara mmoa obiara ba nti sɛ ha chance na ba na wanya bi a ɛwɔ sɛ nteaseɛ yɛ adwuma na wotimi yɛ se fa support nkwaraa no a yɛde yɛamfa ama nkwaraa yɛde maama awofoɔ nsɛ momfa mmoa nkwaraa no ahwɛ mu nti wo so boa sɛ wo ba no africafoɔ nkwaraa ebi yɛ wobɛka sɛ ɔte africa yɛnhwɛ ɔmo yie koraa.
They even take the money.
Yeah,
sometimes they even fight over the money, and one of them will take the money and spend the money.
Omo jisika no was spending no the year Japan wa Africa. Then kwara no ya wo yen krom ha but da bia ni abrofo hia no omusuro omo panic da bia no omusuro ase ni ono oni omo start kindergarten enyina bedru sei yentimi ni omo fit because of say akwala no sa no de ukotu bi mo ma wo kindergarten no ne ayi ne grocery na obisa ha say he ne ya de ni free Africa e be wura krom ha na so ne anyense ne ha wɔ ne ha yɛmfa bi nhwɛ nkwara no yɛnya isa abaatan no ɛyɛ ko saa sika no ho na yɛmfa ama yɛn abaatan no sɛ ahohoɔ abaatan no yɛgye mfa nkɔ yɛ japade wɔ yɛ kurom yɛse yɛmfa nhwɛ yɛ ma.
Sure. So Daddy, about the sex, how do you make, because a lot of people are saying that when it comes to marriage, for instance, those of them who are in Europe, we need to have a timetable because I go to work, I'm tired, blah blah blah. How should we go about it? Yeah.
Timetable for love, right? Yeah. No, basically, I mean, you can do it whenever you want to, whenever you feel like. You know, thinking of the fact that I have to work tomorrow, so I can't do this, I can't do that. I need to find time, make time. It shouldn't be an issue for a couple to meet. I mean, you miss each other the whole day. You've been gone the whole day. You miss each other the whole week. I mean, you call each other when you're even at work. So when you meet, there's supposed to be fire. You know, there's supposed not to be excuses that, we need to make timetable and things like that. Of course, there are cases where you worked opposite shifts. I mean, that I wouldn't doubt, because the man will go in, let's say, night, come back, and he's sleeping, and the woman goes in the afternoon. But you can still make time. These 5 minutes, you can meet in the bathroom, brushing your teeth, is a perfect moment to show love to one another. I mean, you don't always have to plan to be in the bed and go the missionary style. There are other means by which you can satisfy one another. You can always satisfy one another. You don't need 100% time. Of course, for one, for example, there could be weeks that I will be gone. For weeks, or moment I come, she might be sleeping or whatever. But when I come and I feel like, we haven't met for so long, I will wake her up. And I've never had a no in the middle of 2 a.m. I will wake her up. That's when I'm coming to bed. I will wake her up. She might be sleeping 2-3 hours ahead, but she wouldn't complain. If this is the time you have, perfectly fine, right? So you can come in. There's also the other side where the man works out of home or attending meetings or work, whatever, comes home at 3 a.m. takes a shower, wants to get into bed with the woman. The first thing the woman will say, like, is it now that you are coming? I've been sleeping for 2-3 hours. Please go away. Yeah. Push the man away. You are pushing the man into temptation. Because he's already burning on fire. That's why he came to you.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be an excuse that I've been sleeping 2-3 hours, so you push the man away. No. I have never been denied whenever the times come. And this is what we all need to understand, that you need to give it to your partner when the needs come, when he needs it. And even when there's a quarrel, sometimes you solve your fight through these things. Yeah, exactly. So it shouldn't be an issue, the number of hours that you work. No.
Wow. Mommy, why you buy? Give us your take on that, yeah, as a woman.
Oh, mostly where there, any, I can say any formula. Yeah. Any formula. Once some more young guys say the na mo worry for fra na mo share mo partner for fra na akwala bi anima. Any formula. Anytime, any time be our bathroom, okay, our kitchen, okay, our hall, just anytime be but I'm neighbor no moon na and near essa and was a who quite before mobile but time in that home, yamfa time on to home, nearfa days say and as there be worry no worry, worry ma ukunu and also yet. Eka adie eka ware hu titiro ma ware ya ware pa ene saade no eka ho enti na ware ya ware enu nimu a aware anya ware nti enu ne aware no meka se wuyi ene fapem ene saade no kese pa nti untimi nyin free na untimi ene ye mfa time nto ho de time nto ho a na wanya be ma oye kristo ni nyamesro woni mu a obekọ abonten nti o kona so obi kwaje ne so ene so na wusu a ti mane kwan na onye free na anigye ema da bia anigye ene nkambo mu ene ntiase so ewo fie ho odo ema odo eso ebe fie ho na asumdue so aba fie ho last time na meetie program bi na ge bi be kasa se o ni kunu ne se ono de ni kunu ba ne nchen all the time se ohia sa de nda bia again so se da bia untimi na ni kunu ka kire ne se I don't know that be a winnie diana.
Yeah.
So we did that.
You always eat.
Yeah. Get on beside the questions and wouldn't you there be another or bar or man romance guy? Or see there be or make beside or see. I say we there that we saw your wallet now. And that's interesting. Yeah. And it depended be man so be ma bi on penny de bia. Obi penny de bia. Inti se wukun fa obi na penny de bia. Ono so ni de no. On penny de bia 2 days, 3 days, 1 day. Inti no de yin bi anim time bia na ho.
So there's one more thing to that. When you don't respect each other, it makes coming together for sex very difficult.
Okay.
Yeah. The man will insult the woman the whole day, or the woman insults the man the whole day. How do you expect to enjoy it in the evening? Mutual respect. Once it's missing, there's no romance. Makes it difficult to come together. Yeah. So there's a need for respect during the day, and then in the night you appreciate each other. Put it that way. Yeah. Or during the day you appreciate each other. Yes. And once you get it done, even if you're at work, you're thinking about her. You are happy you are coming back home.
I'm say there can so I money in say moon try some more warrior or do. Oba obema o se odo ni mu a eno na e de ka no sa de ni ntimi nya adwuma oba ni ntimi ma wo ho ne ho kwan ma wo ntimi nkɔ ne nkyɛn tem bia wo pɛ because ono ase wo gina bibi so na de ba aware no ha nti o sa de na e ba mu a na oni atenka bia ya se wo hia ba na eno pe na opese wo ba onya ne ba ne wi a ono ba ne hia no free aware no mu ana se niema bi nti ne odeti aware no mu enye odo nti tem bia na aye ntokwa na eyi nko antu ye den aware ne begu enna be ma no so tem bia obohu se ono fo se ne ire no ono wonim sa wonno no oba ne no no but oba na kuma mu no so ono no nti tem bia okɔ ne nkyɛn a na ada ne ntokwa nti no so.
So, Daddy and Mommy, I would give you like some few seconds for you to give your final words. If there's an advice you would want to give our viewers and all that, we would like you to give your final words.
All right. First and foremost, thank you all for having us here. And finally, I will say, look for the love of your life. Make sure you agree. Make sure you love each other. Make sure you learn to love. The first feelings is just a starter. The only thing I have to say, learn to love the one you've chosen and invest in the one you've chosen with mutual respect. Thank you.
So make kakra edamasi bebre say wodi aba mo fidie so. Nyame onhyira mo na onka mo. Say ade amoye no ebeye nkoso na ye nkoso na ye nkoso. De adije mo an say odo enti asie e na mo fa nnante. Moma say de odo na ewo mo ntam no enkoso a na enwo mo ntam. Mo chusu mo partners ya. Mo fa ho fe o. Mama fadi na chi wo ho na chi na say Ghana for the abaso the owo chi ni the owo animu the owo chi the owo animu no emfa hwe ma mo nhwe de odo ehuhia
animonyam ne echinyam
me yanka say echinyam hia ehia pa animnyam so hia but hwe de odo Emma when you want nko a enye aha enti hwe etinyam animnyam na odo ewo mu a edo ebeboa na nyamisuro kese pa obi wo odo nso oni nyamisuro obi wo etinyam oni nyamisuro obi wo animnyam so oni nyamisuro enti mo mpe de odo nyamisuro ene ntiase se nyamisuro ni wo mu a entiase ni bibia ba automatic
complete package
eno na edija mo kwan say
okay. I hope you guys really enjoyed this particular episode. Daddy and Mommy, we are very, very honored to have you on our podcast. We are grateful that you made time out of your busy schedule to come here. We are very blessed. Myself, I'm really blessed. I hope the team here is blessed. I hope our viewers are also blessed to have you. Today, if there is something that, if you watch this particular episode, even if you didn't listen to all of them, I hope you got something. Be open. Make sure that when you're going to marry, you marry someone who can be open to you, who loves God, who can love you, and also who can take care of you. So, guys, we have come to the end of this particular episode. Make sure you subscribe, add your comments. If you have any opinions, you can add it to the comment section and subscribe to our channel. Thank you very much for sticking with us. Ciao. Bye-bye.
Ciao. Thank you all.